Hi, everybody. I'm here with Nancy Good. She is an artist, a musician, and a gallery owner. We're here at her gallery, Core Contemporary. We're going to look at her art and hear her stories and learn something. So, what made you decide to be an artist?
It's one of the most comical questions an artist hears, spoken by another artist. I'm going to call you out on that. I don't know that we ever decide to be artists. That's the way we're made. We do make choices throughout our lifetimes as far as how deeply we pursue the artist's call. I'm thankfully at an age now where I really get to dive deeply into my creative makeup, and that I think is important now.
So, can you tell me a little bit about your style? I really like the patterns.
Yeah, I have a sensory condition called synesthesia, but it's related to vibration. And so, as a musician, we understand everything vibrates. As a human being, a biological being, everything vibrates. Things that we touch, even the hard surfaces, it's vibrating. It's just vibrating at a higher rate. So visually, when I'm trying to express the vibrations and how it relates to our human experience, I often will use biological type shapes, also color palettes that will vibrate against each other, including like UV paints. But things will often take like a micro to macro feel of biological
I like the
interpretation.
contrast from the very graphic patterns here and this very organic. What did you use to create this sort of?
Airbrush.
Oh.
I dove into airbrush after a commission at Meow Wolf, and
Oh, so you had stuff at.
yeah, they commissioned me to create an environment in collaboration with a projection mapping artist. So I created
Oh, nice.
pretty much the origin story around the other artist's work, but then had my own spin on it. But yeah, I love using airbrush because it allows me to visually translate movement. Again, chaos of things. There's a lot of chaos in the natural world. But yet I do like control and I do like intention, and rather than me trying to control the chaos, I often in my work will allow chaos to drive my intention. So
Now, when you start with this, do you, is it sort of improvisational?
very much so.
Just kind of create
Yeah.
the shapes and everything.
Yeah, like this piece here next to it, which will go this way. I began with just lines, airbrush lines, different depths, thicknesses,
Oh, yeah,
softness.
faded in the background.
Yeah, and so it creates this feeling of almost a spider web depth, and it reminded me of like flight charts, flight
Oh, yeah.
patterns, and so this piece is actually called "Find Your Way Home," but it gets me back to the multi-layered experience that we have as human beings. I often have people questioning why I will paint something and they like a certain layer, and then the next thing they know it's painted over, and
But you're just building.
I'm building because it's also honoring that as human beings we have multiple layers of experience, and not everybody sees all those experiences all at once, but they still matter. And whereas I may choose to reveal a layer to someone, I may choose not to, but it doesn't make it any less important to who I am. And so as a conceptual abstract artist, I try to interpret that in almost every piece.
So that's neat. So it's basically there's hidden stuff. that you-
Always, there's always hidden stuff. again, that's back to that.
And you prefer the abstract style?
I do. It's funny. I can do figurative work, and I like very much appreciate the skill of a very talented figurative artist. But this is where my mind goes. This is, I mean, literally, this is what I see in my brain anyway. And I don't do drugs. I don't drink, and it's like part of a language. Art is a language. Visual art is a language. Music is a language. Any sort of creative talent is a language. It's how we express ourselves. And I use on almost any post on social media hashtag I paint what I can't say. And so this allows me the freedom to say a lot of different things without being literal, and then also letting someone else's experience become part of the conversation, and that I don't have to tell them how to see it. They get to see it through the filter they bring with them.
So this is your gallery, Core Contemporary.
Yes.
What got you into opening your own gallery?
As a full-time working artist, I realized very quickly how few curated exhibition spaces there are in Las Vegas, especially private spaces. We have institutional spaces and educational spaces, but not spaces that allow artists to have freedom to explore concepts and creative ideas, even new mediums, without the pressure of, is it going to sell immediately? And knowing that I don't have spaces to exhibit in, it kind of gave me an impetus of, if I can have a working studio, afford a working studio in a space that was adjacent to an exhibition space, then maybe I could make something happen. And so that's exactly what I did, and found this great 3,000 square foot space in New Orleans Square, which is in Sahara Commercial Center. And
Right around the corner from our school.
okay, nice, and at a price that I could actually afford as a working artist. I use most of my art sales to pay for the exhibition space, which again, yes, art is for sale here by the artists, and we did sell a lot of works in this present show, but that's not the be-all end-all to art. Art is a language. It's a way of expressing, very interesting concepts. The next show that's coming up is going to be dealing with some not troubling in terms of life can be troubling, but it's kind of sticky subject matter around gun culture and violence, but not as a way of pointing fingers and saying you can't have your guns. It's more, we need to have dialogue as far as what does the culture do to harming our bodies and communities and families. And so that can't happen in certain spaces. I don't think the library is going to have that type of exhibition. And I like having that freedom to be very creative and have some very strong artistic talent in here. And again, because I can be here working all the time, I don't have to pay an employee to be here. I'm always here, and I love being here. It's a great space. People come in. I frequently have other artists come in and say, hey, well, sit down and sketch something, or feel free to bring an easel. And sometimes people take me up on that, which is great. Mostly people just love to come and visit, which is fine too, but I still stay working. I've learned as a musical performer that I can keep working while somebody else is visiting with me in the studio. It doesn't kind of deter my direction, let's put it that way. And yet I still do have a stage here. We do events, and have started open mic night informally. We'll kind of kick more into that now that pandemic is slowing down limitations or lessening our limitations. And mostly it's just, I love having a creative space that helps support the talent that we have in Las Vegas, and we have a lot of it, and that's important to me. And you know, I still get to be an artist while I do that.